Hey, One Fat Summer. I think one of my absolute favorite chapters of the entire book, but a good one. Chapter 15, I'm on page 162. Here we go. I used to think of summers in slow motion. I hated them, and I thought they would never end. I'd be chugging along through the fall and the winter, enjoying school during the week, enjoying weekends, holidays at Rumson Lake, walking alone in the snow, reading in front of the fireplace, or kidding around with Joni, and then spring would come. Everybody else got excited when the first green shoots came up through the cold ground and the air lost its bite. But I'd start worrying about the summer, that bottomless hole in my year. No way to avoid it. I would stumble, begin falling slowly, end over end, for 2 months that went on forever, waiting to crash back into autumn again like a bad dream that wakes you up in the middle of the night, covered by sweat, with a cold lump in your stomach. But this summer was spinning along. I lost track of days. I'd wake up before the alarm clock. I'd stretch the stiffness out of my arms and legs and back. And every morning I woke up sore, but it was getting easier and easier to get out of bed. I started touching my toes a few times to work the kinks in my back. I could actually touch my toes. By the time I was on the county road, I felt loose, like all my joints were oiled and greased. I couldn't wait to get at that lawn. My blisters were gone. I had tough yellow calluses in their place. And I rarely thought about Willie Rumson. Dad came up the next weekend, but it was as if he wasn't even there. He played softball, tennis, he went swimming. He kept himself busy the whole weekend. I saw him only at meals. We hardly talked. I had decided to tell him about my job, but it just never came up. The closest was Saturday night at dinner when he suddenly said, "I hear you're keeping yourself pretty busy." Yeah? I started to get the story together in my mind so I wouldn't have to tell him that I had lied in the beginning, but he didn't give me a chance to talk. "Your mother says you get home real tired. That's good. Pete Marino keeps you hopping." Michelle started talking with her mouth full. "So much to do with that place." She flashed me a shut-up look. "But I'd trade jobs in a minute. Yesterday, a 6-year-old boy went into the woods with a marshmallow and a book of matches and tried to start a campfire. He almost burned the whole place down." That changed the subject. They talked for a few minutes about Michelle's camp job. On her way out that night, she gave me a wink. I didn't talk to Mom much either. She was studying again harder than ever, reading books, taking notes, making charts and lists. By the time I got up for breakfast, she had already finished hers and she was at her desk. At dinner, we talked about the weather or food or chores. We were all going our own ways. It wasn't so bad, it was just different. The only thing I really missed was the chance to be honest with somebody. I was glad when Joni came back and called. I went over to see her one afternoon after work. She was sitting outside her house on a lawn chair, wearing a big straw hat, reading a magazine. Her face was shadowed by the wide brim of the hat. I couldn't see her nose or her eyes. "Hi, what you reading?" She held up the magazine. I couldn't believe it. "Beauty Hints?" "It's not so bad. Where are you coming from?" "Work." "At Marino's Beach?" "No, the lawn job, remember? You were there when I called up." Very dramatically, she said, "Oh, right. That seems like a lifetime ago." "Sure does. Actually, I never thought you'd keep that job." "How come?" "Oh, I don't know. You're just not the type." I suddenly lost interest in telling her about the job, so I asked, "How come you're wearing that big hat?" "I'm supposed to avoid sunburn for a while." She took off the hat as if she was opening the curtain of a play. She was pretty, but she wasn't Joni. The swelling had gone down, the bruises had disappeared, except for the skin over the bridge of her nose, still tight and shiny. I wouldn't have been able to tell she even had a nose job. It was a good nose, I guess, but it didn't look right on that face. At least, not to me, it didn't. Even her hair was different. She used to wear it loose. She liked it when the wind blew her hair against her face, and now it was pulled back into this high ponytail, so everybody could see her face. I tried to crack a joke. "You're one of the new faces of 1952." It was the name of a Broadway show. "You don't like it, do you?" "Well, when you get used to somebody, the doctor said some of my friends would be very upset. They'd think—" "I'm not very upset." "I was a different person. They'd have trouble talking to me." "I'm talking to you." "Because they had an idea of who I was, and now it would be like starting all over. I think that's your problem." "You must be a mind reader." "Don't be sarcastic." She put the hat back on, which made talking to her a little easier. "I'm not being sarcastic." I tried to be funny again. Joni always had a great sense of humor. "I'm sure you're very attached to your new nose." Get it? Attached? "Very funny. You ought to be on I Love Lucy." "You ought to be on the Gabriel Heater show." "Ah, there's good nose tonight." When she didn't make a sound, I said, "That's a joke, son." "It's no joke, Bob. You're resentful. But I understand." "Resentful of what?" "Of my changing myself. The doctor said that some—" "What'd you go to, a psychiatrist?" "A plastic surgeon has to be part artist, part psychiatrist. He's a wonderful man. Very kind, very gentle. He really understands people." I was a little jealous. "How can he understand me if he never met me?" "Because it happens all the time. You'll see, I'm still the same person." "Except now you read beauty hints, and you lost your sense of humor, and you're trying to psychoanalyze me." "That might be a good idea. Maybe you should get psychoanalyzed." "Maybe you should have gotten your whole head chopped off." Joni stood up. "This is ridiculous. Come back when you're feeling like a human being." She turned her back on me and walked into the house. I wanted to shout at her, "Come back when you look like a human being," but I couldn't. I stopped off at Marino's Beach for a chocolate frosted and 2 glazed donuts. I wasn't even hungry. Pete was on the high board, just jumping up and down, testing the spring of the board. How could anybody do that? Up so high. I'd be afraid of slipping. But if he slipped, he'd just twist his body into a dive and plunge into the water like an arrow. But he didn't slip. He landed on the balls of his feet in the same spot on the board every time. What body control. Ugh, what a body. I bought a Three Musketeers bar for the walk up the hill. Connie counted the change twice, as if she thought I was gonna cheat her out of a penny. "Hey, big fella, how's it going?" Pete was wet. I had missed the dive. "Okay." "Hey." He was looking at me oddly. He circled around me. "Are you losing weight?" My pants were feeling looser these days. I don't know. "Open your shirt." "Right here." It must have sounded silly. Everybody in bathing suits. Pete wearing just his little tiny trunks, his medallion, and a lot of drops of water. "Come on." "Marron, you on a diet?" "No." "Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Looking good." He slapped me on the stomach. "Next thing you know, you'll be doing gainers off the high board." I don't know which hurt my stomach worse, Pete's slap or the thought of going off the 20-foot board. Not me. "Sure you will. It's the greatest feeling in the world, the moment of truth. You leave the board, big fella, and it's all up to you. You got 1 second to show the world what you're made of, to show 'em you aren't afraid, to make your moves. Tell the water coming up fast, 'Look out, world, here comes a real man.'" "You don't have to do that to be a real man," I said. "It's the best way to tell the world." He gave me a wink and walked back to the boats. I didn't eat the candy bar. I ran halfway up the hill before my legs slowed down on their own. I went right into the bathroom. I locked the door. I took off all my clothes. I tested the bathroom scale with 1 toe, like Pete testing the high board. Ready, set, go. I stepped onto the scale, knees flexed, ready to bail out. The numbers rolled past the pointer, up to 195, and then back down to 187. I jiggled the scale, but it always came back to 187. I checked the dial behind the window. The needle was properly at 0. I climbed on again. 187. Looking good, big fella. I'd lost at least 13 pounds, maybe a lot more, in 1 month. I grinned at myself in the mirror. I had dimples in my cheeks. I never saw them before. I made a muscle with my right arm. It popped up, an apple of a muscle pushing through the flesh. I studied the muscle. A pale blue vein crossed the top of the biceps. A vein! I had a vein! A vein! My mother pounded on the bathroom door. Bobby, are you all right? I'm fine. You were yelling. It sounded like the word pain. No. Rain. It looks like rain. It's a beautiful day. What are you doing in there? I'm, going to the toilet. Do you have cramps? Are you sick? I'm fine. Well, when are you coming out? I don't know. I'll send you a postcard. You're all right, she muttered and walked away. 187. And getting muscles. And veins. It was happening. I was going to wake up thin someday. I took a shower, dried off, examined myself in the mirror. My belly was a lot smaller. My backside didn't wobble so much. My legs looked harder. I flexed my muscles. There was no vein in my left bicep. Not yet. But there was a muscle all right. I wrapped a towel around myself and I walked into my mother's room. She looked up from her desk. Don't trip on the floor, Bobby. She went back to her books. She looked up again with a false smile. We'll eat about 6, right? If you're starving, have some fruit. There are some nice peaches and plums in the refrigerator. Okay. She didn't notice. She didn't even really look at me. Nobody really looks at people in their own house. I went back to my room and tried on a pair of old shorts from 2 summers ago. They were snug, but I could button them. I went through all my clothes. My new summer pants were loose. The chino pants I wore 4 weeks ago to the carnival slid down to my hips. On Friday, Jim Smith pulled me aside while I was sweeping the garage. Rumsen's back in town. You better watch out. Maybe he better watch out. I thought I said it just right. Not so tough that he'd think I was covering up feeling scared. But Jim just shook his head. Oh yeah, Willie's really scared. Scared he'll kill you next time. We'll see. I squeezed so hard on the broom handle that my knuckles turned white. Hey, I could actually see my knuckles poking through my flesh. I never saw my knuckles before. Jim asked, You gonna tell him I helped you? I might. Jim made a fist. I thought he was gonna slug me, but he just rubbed his mouth. Look, Marks, maybe I should have left you on that island. I would have gotten back. Willie would have brought me back. Okay, but I did come out to get you. You let him take me out there. What could I do? Willie's crazy. I didn't know he was going to do that. You're scared of him. I shouldn't have said that. Jim glared at me, but then he nodded. Sure I am. He's off his rocker. He'll do anything. He don't care. You know why he joined the Marines? It was that or jail. He beat up a teacher. A woman teacher. His uncle got him off? Yeah, he's got another uncle on the school board, so they gave him a chance to straighten up and fly right. They ought to put him away. Look, I'm just telling you all this for your own good. I talked to Willie last night. I made a deal with him. If you quit this job, he'll leave you alone. And if I don't, you're on your own. Well, what'll he do? I don't know. He spent a couple weeks hiding out upstate, busting his back on his brother's farm. He hates that place and he don't get along with his brother. He figures it's all your fault. My fault? He's crazy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Well, even if I quit, Dr. Khan won't hire him anyway. Well, it's pretty late in the season to get anybody else, and my father would vouch for Willie. He could talk Khan into hiring Willie, like on a trial. And even if that don't work out, you'd be off the hook. Willie would figure you were even Steven. He won't bother you. I don't know. He could make your life hell. Spend the rest of the summer looking over your shoulder, scared all the time, looking, never knowing when he's coming up behind you with a tire jack in his hand. He was talking about breaking your kneecaps last night. He wouldn't dare. This time he'd go to jail. That's what I told him. But remember, he's crazy. He don't care about nothing. He's got nothing to lose. And what's the big deal for you? You don't need the job. Your folks got all the money they want. I'll think about it. You better do it today. You quit today. Why do you care so much? Willie's my cousin. I don't want to see him to go down in flames over a slob like you. You do it now. And he stalked away. I was scared. Broken kneecaps? Maybe a broken head? Find me in the drainage ditch I dug? It was a lousy job anyway. Killing myself for 50 cents an hour. Who needs it? Only about 5 more weeks till Labor Day, the end of the season. I could hang around, read books, have a nice easy time. Dad's got too much on his mind to bother me anymore. Too late to go to day camp. Even if I did, it wouldn't be so horrible. Not with my new muscles and my vein. And Rumson really did need the job. Maybe his folks were poor. Maybe he needed something to do from keep him from getting even crazier. Working for Dr. Kahn might help him straighten up and fly right. I'd be doing a real service, like Mom did with the charity kids. And I wouldn't really be giving up all that much. At 3 o'clock, I went up to the porch to collect my money. Dr. Kahn was staring at me. What were you talking to the Smith boy about? Nothing. I don't like a boy who lies. I don't remember. It was something about trimming the bushes. He thought I should do it better. You're quite adequate, improving measurably. I don't want you listening to those irresponsible boys. He opened the leather purse and counted out $12.75. I had never gotten around to correcting him. Well, it doesn't matter now. Dr. Kahn, what is it? Well, of course. How careless of me. He fished out another dollar bill. Have a pleasant weekend. He had never said that before. Yes? Well, it's about the job. What about the job? Shotgun eyes were boring into me. Do it now. Quit. But I didn't want to. Why should I? I didn't make Willie crazy. Who says working for Dr. Kahn is going to make him sane? Dr. Kahn nearly drove me crazy. And I want a vein on my left arm, too. I'm no beach ball, no yo-yo. Jim Smith and his crazy cousin aren't going to jerk me up and down. You owe me $1 for last week, and for the week before, too. That's right. He fished out 2 more crumpled bills. See you Monday morning, 9 o'clock, sharp. Smith's truck was waiting for me at the bottom of the driveway. Jim leaned out. Did you do it? Nope. It's your funeral, he said. His father started the truck. There, who's a beach ball now? But I wondered, did I really do what I wanted to do, or was I just more scared of Dr. Kahn than of Willie Rumson? I saw Jim's face as the truck turned onto the county road. He looked worried. I was worried too, but I didn't look it. I gave him a tight, tough smile like Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. But I was scared and tingling all over.